What's up guys? So a question I get a lot is, am I still going to play GU once Iceborne comes out? And the answer is, what are you doing? That doesn't look like Monster Hunter. What are you doing, man? I'm trying to record my story for Amino. Amino? I know them. They have stories? They do now. The kind folks at Amino have given me the chance to try out their new story feature, and I've partnered up with them to bring you guys even more exclusive content that's even quicker than the quickies, since sometimes they're not so quick. Sorry. If you check out their Discover page, you'll find stories covering many different things, such as anime, art, video games, and K-pop? There's a lot of K-pop on there right now. But the most unique thing here is that unlike other story features where it's more of a candid recording, you have many more editing and presentation options here to really make a mini production of your own style. If you want to check out the story that was just interrupted, or future stories, then check out the link in the description or pinned comment where you can download Amino for free and then search up and follow your boy, Herny, and make sure you don't miss any bonus videos in between my usual uploads. If you do watch them on Amino, it's another way to support me, so I do appreciate that as well. Alrighty, now let's get to the video. So today I'd like to talk about the Deviant Gammoth weapons, the Frost Peak weapons. No, the Elderfrost weapons. Elderfrost was the Deviant form given to Gammoth new to Generations Ultimate. So I was asked why her lance in specific was good, and I figured I could answer not only why the lance was good, but also why several of her weapons are good, and why. The Monster Hunter does this cool thing with their weapons where they give it some characteristics from the monster itself. For example, if you have like a fast, nimble monster, then the weapon is probably going to have, high affinity or high sharpness. EF Gammoth, being a monster that's pretty slow, but has a lot of weight to her attacks, is the opposite. A lot of her weapons have really high raw, but not the greatest sharpness. And at first glance, her weapons only look okay at best. They have really nice raw, but that green sharpness though. What the hell? Hey. That's right, if we slap on Handicraft and reach sharpness +2, her weapons can reach white sharpness. If you guys remember my raw versus sharpness video, a 380 raw weapon at white sharpness is
nice.
And several of her weapons are complemented perfectly by the meta John Cena set. The Handicraft and Razor Sharp are to obtain and maintain the white sharpness, and the other skills help obtain the affinity needed to do some big damage. It's also a really nice bonus that her weapons don't have negative or no affinity like a lot of high raw weapons. They actually have a positive 5%, which is just nice. Thank you, Gammoth.
I appreciate you.
So what started off as pretty meh weapons end up becoming really powerful weapons that will charge your hunter arts faster since they're deviant weapons. The ice is a nice bonus against anything weak to ice, but you can pretty much take her weapons against anything since everything is weak to dying. Alright, now I want to talk about which of her weapons are amazing and which ones maybe not so much and why. Let's go. The lance is top tier. It's one of the top 3 lances in the game, and it being a deviant weapon is fantastic for Striker because we want those hunter arts up fast. The Insect Glaive is top tier as well. It's one of the most powerful glaives, and it attacks fast enough to actually make good use of the ice damage. Plus, you can gain even more affinity with your Kinsects, which helps push this Insect Glaive even further. On that note, let me discuss the Switch Axe and the SNS as well. Both are top tier. The Switch Axe has slightly less raw at 370, but being able to also increase affinity with energy charge and add even more damage with Demon Riot, it can more than make up for that 10 raw deficit. The SNS, being the powerhouse weapon that it is, can make good use of high raw damage and the ice damage, with how often you attack. And thanks to the oils and Chaos Oil, you can push the affinity to 100%, which is insane on an EF Gammoth weapon. And you can also sharpen, or oil, often enough to help maintain the white sharpness, since you'll be eating through it pretty quickly with Sword and Shield. The dual blades are top tier as well. Now you wouldn't want to go with these if you want to pump out the most ice damage. You probably want to go with the Lagombi dual blades for that, but you would definitely pick these dual blades if you're going Striker and you want to just do a lot of raw damage. I love taking these against someone like Rajang, who, even though they're kind of weak to ice, they're more weak to just dying, and the high raw will definitely help with that. Just be wary of your sharpness though, you'll eat through this white faster than Lance and Sword and Shield, so you want to be using your readiness pretty much as soon as it's up, just to maximize your sharpness uptime. The gun lance is very powerful too, it's one of the highest damage dealing gun lances in the game. It wouldn't be your first choice as an ice gun lance. If you want something that does more ice than raw, then you could go with the Blanganga gun lance. Actually, that's going to be a reoccurring thing here, so let me just say that now. You probably won't be picking these weapons for their glamorous ice damage. It's mainly for the raw, just in case. A lot of the weapons here will have significantly better ice alternatives, and if you want to know what they are, maybe I can save that for another video, or you can just message me or something. But Elderfrost's raw damage is great for its wide type shelling, it goes really nicely with adept style, and the fact that it's a deviant weapon will help you use readiness enough to stay in white sharpness, since gun lance can also eat through sharpness rather quickly. The hunting horn is incredibly solid too, it has 370 raw, and with hunting horn the amount of white sharpness we have is really comfy. It's also really nice support hunting horn, being able to give divine protection and negate statuses, making it really nice to bring against something like Dread Queen. But we all know the real way a hunting horn supports the team is just killing the monster, so this raw damage is really nice. The monster can't kill your team if it's dead. The longsword is pretty solid, but unfortunately it gets outshined by other longswords in pretty much every matchup in terms of damage, but it's still a solid pick against monsters like Rajang, Zinogre, and Astalos. This one may surprise a few of you, but the greatsword is not so great. It's not a bad weapon, but this is a case where the lack of versatility hurts, and other greatswords are more efficient and more versatile. And if you want to go through the trouble of making a set to make this greatsword work, then you might as well use that set with the Bone Splitter greatsword instead, which will give you better results. Sorry, greatsword. The hammer is pretty solid. In most cases, you'll find yourself using the Mantis, Crimson Fatty, or Hypergore hammers, but EF Gamuts is still solid against monsters weak to ice, and that's pretty much the only situation you'd use it in. Although even then you could probably use the Fatty Hammer instead. Sorry, Gamut. Charge Blade. 380 raw with white sharpness. This CB has to be top tier, right? Unfortunately, no. Because this Charge Blade is an elemental file CB, which is a goddamn shame. Because not only do we not get to use all this raw damage in our files, this ice damage sucks. If you want a nice elemental CB, you can make the Zamtrios one. You let me down, Charge Blade. And lastly, I'm going to talk about the ranged weapons, and I want to give a quick thank you to Mega Mimi and Mai on YouTube. Mimi being a great bow speedrunner, and Mai being a great gunner, and I checked with them before making this video to make sure what I was saying was accurate. Go check them out. The advantage that the ranged weapons have is that they're not tied to using the same set as the melee weapons, but they still have their issues as well. The Elderfrost bow could be good, but unfortunately it's not, since it has mismatching shot types. If it had Heavy 5 and Heavy 5 again, then this bow would actually be really strong. Unfortunately though, it has Pierce instead. Similarly, the Elderfrost light bowgun isn't bad, but it's not that great either. It can rapid fire Pierce Freeze level 1, but if you want to use an ice light bowgun, then you're much better off using the Barioth one. And lastly, the heavy bowgun can only siege fire heavy shots, so it's not that good. Anyways guys, that's it. I hope I covered why the Elderfrost weapons are good, and which ones are really good and which ones not so much and why. And here's hoping to maybe seeing Gammoth and Iceborne. That Popo's in there. It could happen. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Happy hunting. Peace.
支えてくれる人たちに日頃の思いを込めたラプソディアプリシエーションの気持ちを届けいつも